I'm sure the kids already answered most of them.
What do you think is different about this defense than the first one you had in year one at Pitt?
I think it's really early to tell because it's just being born. The kids that are the leaders, who you all would expect, are really stepping up. But for us to be successful, some of the younger guys who maybe were on the fringes need to step up, and I think some of them are doing that. But only after 2 days. It's awful early to tell, But I'm really pleased with where the kids are. They're all working hard. They're all keeping each other accountable, and that's what's going to make us a good defense.
So we were just talking to Rashad Weaver. How important is he to the defense, especially this year?
Well, where he's most important is leadership is outstanding, but where he's most important with is how he can teach everybody off the field how to be a better football player. Normally you win the games before you play them by knowing what's coming. And the kids are really embracing the idea of going farther than we did last year, learning how to be more of a professional football player. What I mean by that is they come in and study tape more, understand what they're studying, and a guy like Weaver gives you that opportunity to go in times where we as coaches aren't allowed to be with them and actually have them learn how to watch tape. It's one thing to watch 2 hours of tape, but if you get nothing out of it, you're just wasting your time. So those older guys who've got the experience off the field and have learned how to be a professional off the field, that's what we hope the whole team can become.
You look back at last season, you guys have games like Virginia or Wake Forest,
sure.
We really kind of hold them down pretty well, but then there's Central Florida or Duke. What do you think kind of led to some of the inconsistency week to week? Obviously, there's different opponents, and
sure.
They're going to be tougher than others. But what did you kind of put some of that inconsistency on?
I would just put it mostly on the idea of there was a lot of different guys playing at different levels at different times. And what we are trying to stress is consistency. If you look at the body of work, however, in the second half of the season, you see that on defense is the consistent level. And that's what we are trying to do. And then obviously we had 3 new coaches. Took a little bit of time for those guys to get to know us. I think now if you ask any of the defensive players, they probably would know what I was going to say before I say it. And what I mean by that is now that I don't have to say it, I have one of the leaders on defense, one of the players, coaching the other players. When we get to the point where we're doing that, we'll be a great defense.
Obviously, there's turnover every year.
Sure.
Do you feel like guys are naturally stepping into leadership positions? Are you pleased with that aspect of it so far?
Very much. Really, I think our kids have embraced the idea. We've put a lot of pressure on our kids to be leaders, and we're not talking anybody specifically, but everybody. You don't have to be the best player on the team to be a leader. And so we're really pushing the guys to be leaders in their own way. You can only be yourself, but you can lead by example, you can lead by talking, you can lead by what you do in the classroom. And, however it is, I ask those kids all the time, how are you a leader and how are you bringing this team up?
You're going to be able to play a lot of guys this year who've played a lot before.
Yes, sir.
This isn't necessarily a young defense, is it?
It is not, and even though we lose some tremendous players, actually we probably lose, 6 starters, but in our mind we have developed a great deal of depth, which I know I've talked to you guys about before, playing a lot of guys, and now it becomes competition. When you have competition and you're afraid the guy behind you is going to beat you out, you'll practice harder, and I think that's what we have right now.
How does Campbell look at the start?
Phil is doing very well. He's learning. It's only the second day, and things come at you fast. And Coach Whipple's messing with him with all his new funky stuff, which is outstanding. But honestly, Phil has embraced it, doing a great job. And you want to talk about a guy who's really spending a lot of time off the field, in the classroom, watching tape, learning his position. He's one of those guys.
Coming from the secondary, does he have to gain weight, or is he at a good
No, I think he's okay. And I think having been in the secondary, it's a natural move forward. Mm-hmm. So, he's farther along than you might think.
We ask a lot of questions about where you're missing guys. What do you do this spring with the guys that are multiple year returning starters, guys that have had a lot of success, guys like Hamlin, Jackson, Weaver? How do you challenge them this spring to be better, even better than they've been, even though they've been really good?
Well, we're not trying to be better than somebody else on the team. We're trying to be better than we were the day before. And so we challenge them to be the best they can be, not the best at their position, not the best in the secondary, but as good as they can be. To be as good as you can be sometimes, that's an elite level. Rashad Weaver, like you said, those kids, Hamlin, those guys have to play at an even different level. So expectations at practice are far different, and so we teach them and coach them in a different level.
Weaver talked to us about how he was angry after the bowl game, losing
Sure.
those last 3 games. Did you see some of that from your guys when the season ended?
I would hope so. You know, I think the way we finished, we talked a lot, long and hard about finishing. And it starts with every day, every play. When you make a play, do you finish that play? And then it goes all the way to winning the ACC championship, playing the bowl game, winning the national championship. You have to finish. To go to the national championship, somebody still loses, right? So you got to finish all the way through. And really, that's the name of the game.
Is that motivation for this season?
Absolutely.
It seems like cornerback is one of the stronger positions for you. I mean, what are your expectations for those guys this season?
Well, we're gonna make them. I think we have 3 starters right now, so we're gonna make those guys compete. And the best guy's gonna win. And if they all compete, we'll have 3 great players, and we'll be able to do some different things with the 3rd guy if he's the next best guy.
One of them could play nickel, probably.
There's no doubt. I might have to put you on the staff.
That's all right. Can I watch film with you this afternoon?
Yeah, but you got to get here at 5:50.
In the afternoon?
No.
With
5:50 to 10 o'clock, you can come right on in.
with Paris last
You
year,
gotta stay.
I feel like this time of year it was all about, he's making a lot of plays. Sometimes maybe he's not in the right spot, but he's still making a play because of his athleticism. Is this spring more about him being fundamentally sound and getting up to speed with the playbook and making sure that he's not out of position and stuff like that?
You know, it's very similar to Phil Campbell. Same thing with Paris. Paris is now embracing the idea that you have to do more than just come and play. You have to study. You have to understand your calls. And that's where I think he's made the biggest stride since I've known him. He's gone from the point where, you come every day and you do your best. But now, to be the best you can be, you have to do more. And I think that's what he realizes, and that's what he's doing. And I think, for the most part in the last 2 days, he's been, for being in that position, which he hasn't been, he's done a great job. I'm very pleased.
Anything final? Coach, thanks for your time.